We often take our senses for granted, at least until we find it hard to read fine print in a newspaper or the sound of our favourite band becomes muffled. So imagine not being able to see the world around you, not being able to see your family, your friends, your kids growing up. Well, that has been Diane Ashworth's experience for most of her life. Back in 2012, Diane was given an opportunity to participate in a medical research trial which would possibly allow her to see again. This is the story of Diane's journey and the incredible Australian scientists who are making bionic vision a reality.
My name's Diane Ashworth and I was the first research participant in the Australian prototype bionic eye trial between 2012 and 2014. I can remember when I was 2, sitting in front of the television, and I was sitting really close to the telly, and Mum came up and pulled me back and said, you know, can you see the telly from there? And I said, well, no. And then I sort of pushed myself back to the telly and thought, well, you know, and I was only 2, you know, thinking, well, this is how everyone sees the telly, isn't it? I think Mum was starting to notice that I wasn't, you know, sort of doing things like other kids did, and yeah, I think she actually took me to the doctors when I was about 2, and the doctor said I was too young to be diagnosed. So at 3 I was diagnosed with myopia, and I wore glasses, really thick glasses from then on. We didn't know about the other things that I had until later on, till I was 24, when I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa.
There's no cure and she'll go blind. That's what we were told. So that was a bit of a shock.
So I was looking at the screen with the black dots on that, and the doctor said that that is your retina. Most retinas are nice and pink, and you have retinitis pigmentosa and you're going blind. And it was as simple as that, and it was sort of like my whole world just, you know, dropped out around me. But it was really strange when she said it to me too, because it was like, oh, that's why, you know, I fell over at school. That's why I couldn't judge things. That's why I couldn't catch the ball, you know, in sport and things like that. So it explained a lot of, you know, why I couldn't do what I could do. So it was sort of like devastation and relief at the same time. So yeah, but I went out and got Mum. We walked out the corridors of the hospital and she kept saying to me, you know, what did they say? And by the time we got to the car, I just burst out and said, I'm going blind. Yeah, so it wasn't a real good day. So yeah. Other people actually were the biggest change in my life, because if you told people that you were losing your eyesight, they just treated you differently. So in that way, it was a bit, I'm not going to say isolating, but it was separating, I suppose, a bit. I learnt who were my friends and who weren't my friends, but I put most of my energy into raising my boys because I just loved them.
We never felt like Mum was blind. We never even really noticed it because we were really, really young. We always just thought about what we wanted more than anything else. So she always was able to look after us and give us everything we needed. So everything felt quite normal for us.
They didn't realise it. They might realise it now, I think, when they're older, but home was just home and Mum was just Mum. You know, they lost things, I found them. Might have taken me a bit longer, but, you know, I remember once we couldn't find the cordless phone, and it took me a couple of weeks, and there it was in the bottle of the odd socks. Someone had put it there, and, you know, so, yeah, someone said to me, are you worried that you haven't found your phone? No, I'll find it. So, yeah, no, life was just normal.
It's all things. You have to give it to me if you have one.
How did I get involved with the bionic eye? I received an email from Dr. Lauren Ayton. She was sending email out to people with retinitis pigmentosa to see if they'd like to come in and just discuss the bionic eye and you know, have a chat about it. And so I said, yeah, look, I'd come in, and so did all tests and apparently I ticked all the boxes, and about 18 months later I received another phone call and asked would I come in and have a talk, and so I did, and that's when they asked me would I take part in the bionic eye trial. They were just a great team, and I said, yeah, let's go for it.
My name's Associate Professor Penny Allen. I work for the Centre for Eye Research Australia. I am a retinal surgeon. If you were to see a person in the street who had a guide dog or a cane, the most likely diagnosis in this community is that they would have what we would call a retinal dystrophy or inherited retinal disease. And these are the patients that we've targeted for our trial because they have residual neuronal elements in the retina, and we can use our electrode array to stimulate those neuronal elements.
I really wasn't nervous at all. I trusted the team. I had met the team, the surgeon, all the researchers and that, and I just put my eyes in their hands. I was a bit nervous on the day of the surgery, but apart from that, I wasn't nervous at all.
The surgery takes about 3 to 3.5 hours. We allow the patients to actually heal over a 4 to 8 week period, and we don't actually rush into stimulation. They then commence stimulation within the psychophysics lab. The first switch on day we were fairly nervous.
That was an intense day, as in I didn't realise how much work had gone into the research of the bionic eye. When I started seeing little flashes, it was like ecstatic, the energy.
Well, when the device is stimulated, then it produces a flash of light, and we call that a phosphene. Congratulations.
Later on we had a semi-portable, so what was in the computer and everything was put into a backpack which I wore around, and that was interesting. Pretty heavy backpack, which I couldn't wear all the time, but that was really cool walking around, and the phosphenes would activate when there was something in front of me. And if I was looking at someone, I would be able to see the outline of their head and their shoulder. We went into a cafe that I had lunch there every testing day, and Joe was behind the counter, and for the first time I saw him walk away and then walk back, and I just couldn't believe it. Like normally I would just talk to his voice, if someone walks away and they're quiet and they're not talking to me while they're doing it, I'll still talk to them as if they're there. So it just connected me to what was around. Even though these phosphenes are not normal sight, it still connected me to what the environment that I was interacting in. I was travelling up for the research, what I was doing up in Melbourne, then going back to Geelong to do my PhD and teach as well. So I did social work degree with honours, got enough marks for that, and I did a PhD, taught at university, and now I'm looking for something else to do. I'd like to get into the field of disability.
Well, Di's she's an incredible person. She's very adventurous. She was willing to, be the first person involved in one of our trials.
Yeah, he said, yes. But I said, I'm not imagining it. I get like, not flashes.
That's the thing about these patients. They're actually all part of the research team. They're all working hard to help us understand how the device works and how to make it better.
I mean, she could have sat home and just with 4 walls around and not do anything, but no, she went on and did incredible things.
I know quite a few people who have got vision impairments, and they don't like to associate themselves as being disabled. I don't think I'm disabled. I think I'm different, but I'm actually very proud of what I've achieved, and